Okay, this is take two. Because I had gotten up to 17 minutes. I hadn't even said what I wanted to say because I was beating around the bush. But hopefully, now that I'm in the mindset, I won't post it. Because it's already 17 minutes of me just saying nothing. Yeah, so this is going to be a fairly longer video. I already brought up that somebody is being very misogynistic and very American in 2 comments on YouTube Shorts. But, anyways, and they're also being very body shamey. Whatever. So yeah, this is not about those comments though. This is because this has been a long time coming. So those of you that have been keeping up, I have been basically playing a lot of WoW. I've been going out and biking, and I've been just sort of living. Last Tuesday was my 42nd birthday. Now, that is part of this whole thing. Because as I was getting to with my meanderings, I started saying that I did not start playing football at the age, at a young age. I did not start when I was a teenager or when I was a preteen or puber, as they call it here. I did not start even in college years, be like 18 plus. Many Europeans start playing football then because that's the only time that they don't have youth programs. But they've been active otherwise with football or volleyball or fietsen, or just in general because they're young. I started at 32. I started at 32 because I had what was probably an effective midlife crisis, and thus played football instead of buying a Corvette. Now, when it came back to last fall, several things were having what I'm guessing were cresting waves. Quick metaphor. If you take 2 things and you splash them, eventually they will reach a point where waves are doing this, but then they come together and they merge. The wave crests come together and they amplify each other. And if you can ride the waves kind of fine, it's good. And that's kind of what I was doing, is I was riding a lot of waves, but things were catching up to me that were causing realizations. So like I said, I started when I was 32, and I put all gas forward, all of it. I made everything about my life it, because I was so, it's like I was possibly making up for lost time. I was trying to get in before the end, I guess. I don't know. But I got in it because I wanted to, and for once it felt like I was making a decision for myself. And everything I had done in the States was working towards a goal. And I set a goal, and it took a while. It took these last 6 months. In the last video, I spent a long time figuring out how many months there are since between now and January, because I can't do simple addition. But I did do simple addition in my head, but I had to recheck myself because I did my simple addition too fast. So yeah, 6 months. So it gets Anyways, so yeah, in January I had like a major breakdown, and that was after a month of chilling out and not dealing with football, other than like maybe watching the occasional NFL game, but not having to go to practice, not really going to the gym, not really making myself perform actions. But I had gotten to the realization that perhaps maybe I was not as accepted, nor would I ever be, to the generalized community. I didn't have friends. I had coworkers. They were never going to get to a good friend level. And even if they did try, I wasn't recognizing what they were doing, and they probably thought I was being offensive in some way, because I'm socially awkward. But for most of this, well, all of this year, I've been playing a lot of World of Warcraft. I've been doing a lot of sitting around, playing video games, playing the Burning Shores, Final Fantasy 16, biking around now that the ferry's open, going over to a new Yumbo, feeling fine. Going on vacations, going to Stockholm, going to London, finally. Riding the train, seeing all the various things that you see in London, spending time with my husband, not dragging him off to, another town in the Netherlands to stand around on the side of a thing and film. And not have, like, a weekend for himself. Like, to be fair, that was a sacrifice that he did. In a relationship, it's not all about one person. But I realized that for like 8 years, and a lot of that things, he was not against it. In fact, it probably was a bit more beneficial. And there are times where, like, I would be so exhausted after a Sunday of practice that I wouldn't engage with him much, but he would get to sleep in, he would get to have his own breakfast on his own schedule, listen to his own music. I would be gone from like 9 a.m. till 4 in the afternoon sometimes. Like, I would go off on a work day. But over the last winter and this spring, I have realized that with varying cardiovascular things and reaction time and a little bit of vision, didn't realize, I saw something, shouldn't talk about vision, then say I saw something. I recognized something happening a bit more often than it should, and I wasn't sure about it. I am not in any way going blind. However, physical age is catching up to me, and I am not as responsive as I could be. I am not as... I'm still pretty quick-witted, but I don't do high-end rating in WoW. I do Raid Finder. And effectively, I do, and that's fine. It makes me happy. Now, in terms of football, I don't know. I don't know what I was doing, per se. There's no real reason to classify what I was doing. The problem is, or the issue, is that while I was on the pit bulls, I had a spark. And that spark lit a fire. And that fire turned into a stove. I forgot what. So many Brits call it a hob. And we don't have a gas anymore. We have induction. So my brain was, burner? No. so it, and eventually that turned into, a meal, and that was fine. Except, and then Aaron got a better job. He was kind of doing his own thing, and then at the point of just like our brain, just like, we have this opportunity, and my brain's like, yes, you have this opportunity, and we moved out of the United States, and we came here, and I hit the ground running. I arrived in Amsterdam on August 5th, and I was already at practices by the end of August. And for like a week and a smidge, we were living out of a hotel. Like, Aaron had been bouncing around in hotels for like 3 weeks before I got here, and then for another week after that, we were living out of a hotel because we didn't have an apartment. The longtime viewers have been following. You remember those times? They were weird. But for a week, I was able to at least experience another city and another culture without, anyways. And so, yeah, I've done, and then getting a part of, picking the Hurricanes, traveling out to Hilversum, going to practices, kind of being the outside linebacker, then moving to inside linebacker. Then basically becoming a highly mobile defensive lineman, which I'll admit to that one. I was putting the backer in line. And so I got, I went to Germany, I went to Belgium, I played in an international tournament in France. I played against Romanian teams, French teams, Belgian teams, German teams. Was a part of an international league. To be fair, it's 2 nations. Like, is it really international if it's just the USA and Canada? Is it really international when it's just the Netherlands and northern Belgium? And we would go to various, we'd go to countries and we'd have away games, and I'd get absolutely schnockered and have the bar crawl in Groningen like 3 times. And I think what my brain has been doing the last like 6 months has been saying, you did it. You did it. And I thought, how many people can actually admit that they did it? I mean, this is just in general. I mean, when do people, since Hollywood's a hot topic right now on the internet, how many people get into Hollywood and say they did it? Most people that are like super popular were possibly forced into it. People that are not very popular are the ones that have been trying and struggling, and God, my hair, I need to get a haircut. But yeah, and I realized that I was like, I did it. I mean, aside from winning a Tulip Bowl, getting a championship medal, ring, skull, no, that's just for the team, or whatnot, like, I couldn't figure out anything I hadn't checked off. Oh, well, you didn't leave with any decent injuries. I'm sorry. I have a permanently here, you can see it more from this angle. This is just me extending my hand. That finger is permanently crooked and just in pain. This shoulder, nah, never going to be quite right. And that's fine. I played for 8 years on, okay, the Monarchs really wasn't a team because I didn't play in any games. I did their practices. And much of the same people moved over to the Pit Bulls. So, what, 1, 2, 3, I mean, it was really only 4 teams. Because when I came here, I didn't switch teams, and I have no intention of switching teams. There was nothing wrong with the Hurricanes. Although somebody saying in my comments that it's not a bad place and we don't know how to make it any more accommodating, I realized that I was seen as disabled. I mean, I am, but I was seen as far more disabled than I thought I was. And my brain was having a moment where I was tired of being full up on minorities. And as much as people don't really get it, when you have minority overload, like in the States, you are oppressed as a black person. And then you can tag on more things than that. Like if you're gay, if you're a woman, if you are not correct gender presenting, especially if you are more of, say, the effeminate gay black males. It just gets worse. And people are like, but you're a white guy. Yeah, okay. But I'm like ridiculously neurodivergent. Like it is like criminal how weird I am. Being here, being monolingual, not being Dutch. It wasn't an issue, but there's still the idea that people avoided certain things around me because of gay. It's not that much of an issue, but I can definitely, when people are avoiding you on things, even if they don't say it. They will never get that personal with you. And yeah. So I was having like minority overload, and my pills were causing my anxiety to go away. And so I was having a relaxed brain, and I was actually sitting down thinking about things. And it just wasn't, and my brain was thinking through things, and I was like, you don't need to stress out anymore. You did it. Here's the checklist. You never wanted, I mean, you did. Like, it was on the want list, but that was in the pure want list. Like, this is bonus material. You've won games. You shut out win games. You've played every team in the Netherlands. You've picked off probably what is considered the best quarterback in the Netherlands. You've tackled numerous running backs. You've thrown people to the... because I watched all my videos because I had to do all that stuff. And I keep realizing that if I just look at my accomplishments, I did it. And I'm 42. Like I said, my body is not keeping up. My healing factor is reduced. I can be strong. I could probably, if I really wanted to, I could probably go back and be a defensive lineman. But I might have to get bigger. And I don't know if I want to do that. And in like April I finally came up to the idea that I was making the decision to stop. As I said to my therapist, I had been balancing a lot of plates on poles. The little, I was doing a lot of that one, and it was just so stressful overall with all the minority stresses and living abroad with literally nobody socializing whatsoever. Anybody that has a decent connection to me is on the other side of the clock. And the Dutch they're adorable. They're great. They're industrious, welcoming people. They're a little reserved. And I understand it. I won't really get into the reasons, because why I have rationalized why they are that way is probably what they don't see that. But anyways. But yeah, I have gotten, it's done. I don't have to fight for anything anymore. What's next? So yeah, I'm probably done with football. There isn't enough of a youth program out here to coach them. And other opportunities around here are, well, it's really hard to keep up with 20-year-olds. Really hard. But, everybody has their time and everybody has their things that they move in and out of. I had 8, 9 years, 2 continents. I mean, I was never paid to play this sport, but, how many people really are? Overall, percentage-wise, 0.5% of the total amount of players in the world. Whatever. Well, I hope this answers some questions and realizes where my brain is at right now.